My monsters have been prowling around my mind since childhood, and they come from an obsession with fairy tales, myths and legends. It's the idea of gods turning into animals and animals turning into humans and speaking all seem perfectly natural, and that world was more real to me in many ways than my own. Humans have supposedly conquered their natural world, but there are strange and weird little areas, and one that I stumbled upon was a European tradition of creating volpatingers, these weird hybrid mammals. They're made to emulate mythical fairy tale creatures. These are actual animals that have been flayed and torn apart, reconfigured to design, and show man the creator god, man the joker, playing and making these monstrosities to frighten himself in the darkness of his own imagination, identifying and pulling apart these animals, making something new. So I thought I'd let loose these monsters in my mind and create these set of beasts. And here I've used Victorian etchings, and I've dissected them and made new beings. I think the biggest success is when viewers tell me the creatures look real, that there's an authenticity to their presence. Etching is a very sensory experience. The materials are hard and they're difficult. Got a reputation for being very processy. You're dealing with tools, you're dealing with metal, you're dealing with acid. It's seen as tough, but the more you get to know it, the more you realise it's very forgiving and it's very collaborative. So I've planned my image and I've cut my plate. I bevel the edges just to knock them back so that when I proof them it doesn't hurt the blankets or anything. And then you need to clean it, because although this sink is beautiful and shiny, it's actually covered in grease. So I'm going to take the surface grease off with Brasso and then take it over to the washout room, and I'm going to give it another clean. Because if this surface isn't absolutely pristine, what will happen is my drawing will fall off the plate when it's introduced to the acid. When I'm cleaning the plate, I'm already thinking of my image, I'm setting the scene, and I'm imagining the image that will emerge eventually from this hard piece of metal. And it's very rhythmical. You know when you've got it right and wrong. There's 1,000 ways to degrease your plate, and I suppose it's my quirk that I stick with the soy sauce. You can use lots of things, and I do get a few upturned noses at it, but I like it, and it's beautiful. So now the plate's dry, we put the wax on, which melts on contact with the hot metal. You just need a very thin slick of wax, just a golden glow really, enough to cover the metal from the acid, because where you leave it silver, it will bite and it will etch. I'll tell you a secret about etching and drawing. It's really straightforward. You are not pressing through the metal. You are simply revealing the metal using the very tip of a needle. It's a very gentle mark. It's a very simple mark. It's not like dry point where you have to damage the surface of the plate, push through the material and create the furrow manually. With etching, you're just simply revealing what's there. This is when I fell in love with etching. When I was learning, I was dressed in protective gear, it was very scary acid, and I was tickling it with a feather. And the absurdity of it I just knew it was for me. The next step is to clean off the wax and reveal the plate and hopefully your drawing underneath. So this is terrifying, this bit. This is really scary, and you sing a happy song to yourself while you're doing this bit. You still don't know really what your drawing looks like. You've got a good guess, and it's pretty much one of the only techniques where you've got quite a lot of information in front of you before you've proofed it. However, you still really don't know. You don't really know how far the acid's bitten. You don't know how much ink it'll hold. You don't know where it needs to be. So now you're offering up your prayers to the printing gods, and each time it's the same. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it, you still pray and you hope. The proof, the first print, gives me the map of where to go. It shows me the journey I've got to go on, and in a lot of cases, my particular method is to manipulate the surface of the ink and not alter the plate. I spend a lot of time on the drawing, and then it's the inking that will make all the difference to my image. The proof is where you're really checking for the mechanics of the process, that they've worked. But you're also starting to make aesthetic decisions about tonality and further technique you might want to use, like aquatint. Pulling your first proof is just the start of the journey, and it's really exciting and it's thrilling and it's scary, but you've a long way to go.